How important do you think hamstring flexibility is? Conventional wisdom tells us that if we have tight hamstrings, then we are more prone to injuries in, say, the lower back and also our knees. And a quick way to assess your hamstring flexibility is this toe touch activity, when you just bend over to touch your toes. If you can't go all the way, then you have poor flexibility. But have you met someone or anyone that could actually pump the floor in a toe touch activity and still have lower back pain and knee issues? I certainly have come across quite a few of these people, and all of them have something in common. They were all yoga practitioners. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on yoga here. Yoga has lots of benefits, okay? But this particular group of people, they needed someone else, and that's where they sought help from me. This group of people definitely can pump the floor easily. They can literally fall over like a pancake. In some of the yoga poses, that's what is required, isn't it? So let me explain what's happening biomechanically. So if you have followed or watched my previous videos, you will have understood that hamstring length is related to the pelvis position, or in fact, your joint positions dictates your muscle length. So in the case of someone who could fall over when you're doing your toe touch activity, the pelvis is tilted forward in an anterior tilt, right? And then this moves the attachment points of the hamstrings higher. So hamstrings lengthen as a result. So these are the people who have quite big arches in their lower back, so standing like that. Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it can potentially cause an issue, say in your lower back. So let me take out the pelvis model here. The problem arises when, this is the back of the pelvis, when you try to go further down in your toe touch activity, chances are that you are rotating your thigh bone outwards like that. So this is the back of the pelvis. Your thigh bones are externally rotating as you create more depth in your toe touch activity. Now, if you don't believe me, try this. Turn your feet out, bend over, touch your toes or touch the ground, then turn your feet back in, make sure it's pointing straight ahead, and then do that toe touch activity again. You definitely can feel that with your toes pointed out, you are able to achieve a greater depth. So now, I hope that I've convinced you, when you have your femurs externally rotating this way, you are essentially pushing the pelvis forward. So these are the people you will see having a very tight posterior hip. Even though they can pump the ground, you think that everything on the posterior side is loose, but it's not the case. To achieve that greater depth, like I said earlier, you have to externally rotate, dump the pelvis forward further. So you have this very tight region over here. And then what ends up happening is your lower back. As you push it forward, you create more of an arch in your lower back. The muscles in your back stays tightened and in a shortened position. Let me show you this exercise that will help loosen up your back and restore some of the good pelvic mechanics that I talked about earlier. This is the Hughes Elevated Toe Touch activity. Now, for this exercise, you want to have a book or anything to really elevate your heels. In the video here, I have my heels elevated using a pair of wedges. Now, throughout this activity, you're going to stay heel heavy. As you bend over, shift your hip back slightly, staying heavy on the heels, and then go to the depth that you're comfortable with. Don't be forcing it through. Exhale at the bottom, and then I would usually get my clients to go 5 breaths at the bottom. So you breathe in through your nose, exhale through your mouth, do this big open mouth sigh. Okay? With each exhale, you're going to be sinking a little bit lower. Remember, heel pressure strong, ball of your foot also touching the ground. Sometimes clients might feel like they want to lift up the big toe and the ball of the foot. Do not do that. Try to find that nice balance where you're keeping heavy heel pressure and ball of the foot on the ground. So with each exhale, go a little deeper. Once you're done with 5 breaths, then you're coming back up. As you're coming back up, again, staying strong or heavy on your heels, coming back up, and then as you exhale, go down. We're going to do it dynamic, sorry. You're going to go up and down now. So from the bottom, coming up, exhale. Now inhale at the top, exhale, going back down again. And then you go on for, I will usually get them to go for another 5 or 6 reps, going dynamically, okay? And usually we'll perform this for 2 or 3 sets. You probably want to use this exercise during your warm-up or as your cool-down, or even both, really. Why? Because in the gym, when we are doing a lot of this lifting, heavy lifting exercises, we are actually going into extension. We have to go into extension, not that extension is wrong. So you're gonna extend, then you need something that brings you back, right? To loosen up all that tension. This will be a great activity to do. Now, if you have found this video helpful, as always, please help to like, share, and subscribe. And see you in the next video.